A very, very, very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. We continue with our deliberations in the Customer Connect Week. We are connecting with at various entities, various levels, various institutions, and this is done for you, our customer. Our customer, you are the king. This may seem strange, but you are the king in all this. The persons that have graced our stages today can't be available, can't be present, can't be in existence if you, the customer, do not exist. As NSSF, we commit to deliver value to you as a customer, and value is not just me making a payout to you or availing your money, but what are the things I can do with you. We'll continue with our story and keep telling you that so much has happened during COVID, so much is continuing to happen. People have lost jobs. We are not closing our eyes to that. We have seen that happening in our own homesteads. People have lost people, and we are not blind to all this. However, our message is still clear. We need to rebuild. We should not despair. We should not think this is the end of everything. So today, this afternoon, we are going to be speaking to different entities to talk about how is it that they fit in this whole journey of rebuilding. They have what you may call fancy offices, but these fancy offices are actually fancy because you exist, and they are fancy for you. You need to access their services, and they are saying that the message has been clear. We've been talking off stage, and their message is clear, is that they need you to access these services. So today, as NSSF, we say in our Customer Connect Week, what are those organizations that we can work with? What are those organizations that you as a member, you can access and get valuable service, get valuable partnerships? So today, as we continue in our theme of my business, my partnerships, we want to highlight some of them. This is not all, but there are quite many, but we want to highlight some of those partnerships that you need to have as a business, you need to have as a member, as an individual, starting out a Rolex Mudala. What is it? Who is it that you need to talk to? Who is it that you need to call your partner? And being a partner does not mean that you need to have some amount of money. I've been assured that with whatever amount of money you walk into to their offices, they can be able to attend to you. My name is Apollo Mboa, and I am I'm not the moderator, but I am the announcer for this particular program. Allow me to join to welcome the panel of distinguished representative. I will not say their names, but in the introduction they will say their names. But we have someone from the Microfinance Support Center. Microfinance Support Center, when we talk about it, some people will think of a Myoga, and they will think of only the people who have big money that should access it. But today, a manager partnerships and mobilization, also the official spokesman for Microfinance Support Center, is going to tell us what is it that they do. Joining us also is someone from UNBS, Sylvia Chirabo. She's the head of public relations. Someone this morning in Lugisu complained, why is it that they are coming and trying to standardize my rice? She's going to tell us why is it that you are standardizing people's rice. Today she's joining us in our studios. We're also joined by Mercy K. The other one I will not say, but she will say it. Mercy is the Registrar General, Uganda Registration Bureau Services. We keep telling people, register your businesses. When government tenders, they want registered businesses. What is that registration about? Is it a ploy to get people money out of people? Besides, we've been told that you need about 100 million to register a company. Maybe, I don't know, but Mercy is here. To moderate this whole wonderful session of esteemed and very honorable panelists is going to be the head of business, NSSF. This is the man in charge of picking money from you. You know, our role as NSSF is threefold. We pick money from you, we keep that money and refuse you and deny you access, and then give it to you when you are ready to take it. So the man who is in charge of picking money from you in a polite manner today is going to moderate this session, Geoffrey Sajabi. Allow me to invite the panelists to take on this session. Geoffrey.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Apollo. Thank you for that intro. Our viewers, listeners, wherever you might be, we want to say you're most welcome this afternoon. It is yet another exciting day where we get to interact with you. But most importantly, today we get to understand the role of a number of government agencies towards supporting businesses in Uganda. So today I am honored because I'm moderating a session where we get to specifically understand how we as businesses out there, we as customers out there, can join with different agencies of the government. And so at that point, I wish to introduce formally the members of the panel. And I'll begin from my left. James Muhwez. James is a business pursuing a professional qualification. You most welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And then after James, I'll right away go to the next person. Relations at the Uganda National Bureau of Standards, UNBS. She's an accomplished communications person with over 12 years of experience in public sector. She's an expert in stakeholder Rotary International, where she's the president of the Rotary team in Bukoto. She is at personal level exceedingly passionate about mentoring young people into leadership, among many other things. Mercy, good to have you.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey, and good afternoon, our viewers.
Thank you. I'll ask that we turn on those mics so we fully heard, or you move them a bit close to where you are. Now, to begin off the discussion today, from where we sit at NSSF, we've seen that businesses are struggling. We've seen that we've experienced a significant drop in the number of active contributors by over 22%. Okay, and we know that this is largely down to COVID-19. Now, looking at how businesses are suffering across all the sectors, by the way, when you look at the numbers, much as the education sector from our side has had the biggest hit, all sectors have suffered, the difference being the extent. At the fund, we've had to undertake a number of initiatives specifically intended to address some of the challenges of the customers. One of the very first things that we did was to extend a deferral of contributions that enabled contributing entities to temporarily hold payment of contributions and enable them to use that money in the operations of the business. Because we knew that when businesses get back to normal, these companies can actually start paying. We've also deliberately continued with financial literacy talks, where we speak to individuals, we speak to businesses, and enable them to pick some practices that are great enough for them to help the businesses. So this afternoon, we want to hear from the different agencies. First of all, how have you experienced COVID-19 at the level of your company, but also at your individual level? So to start off the discussion, I'll go to James. At the place where you sit at the Microfinance Support Center, what has your experience been like in regard to COVID-19? How have you experienced doing business during these very hard times? But also, how has it been like for the clients that you deal with? So let's get to hear your story, James.
Thank you very much, our moderator this afternoon. I think I want to pick it from where the announcer of this afternoon session said that the panelists here have fancy offices in terms of the experience that we have had as a person at the Microfinance Support Center. My office, incidentally, happens to be in the field with a customer. And shortly, I will tell you about the mandate of the Microfinance Support Center. So from where I sit as in a personal capacity, I have actually been affected because when I'm not able to reach my client, my relevance at the institution is diminished. But having said that, allow me to just put your question into a little bit of more context by telling the viewers about the mandate of the Microfinance Support Center. Microfinance Support Center is a government wholly owned, is an institution wholly owned by government of Uganda, 100%. And the reason the government started the Microfinance Support Center incorporated in 2001, was to enable the Ugandans, the economically active poor, access financial services, affordable financial services, which would otherwise be difficult to access from the private commercial lenders that we know, the commercial banks. And lack of easy access naturally is because of the rates, the interest rates, the terms and conditions to access those facilities. And so that is why Microfinance Support Center was established. And so our financial services delivery is not only the financial services delivery, but it is accompanied by the business development support service. So this is what also edges the Microfinance Support Center out of other financial institutions. We do not only give credit, but we also support our clients with the financial literacy enough to understand how to manage the credit. Because repayment is key for us, that another person in the chain is able to access. So we do this through established rural financial institutions like cooperatives, small groupings of people, village savings and loan associations, and microfinance institutions. We wholesale to them, and in return, they deliver affordable finance to their clients. So when COVID hit, because of the restrictions surrounding COVID, Microfinance Support Center was not able to reach the client. That was the first challenge that we faced. We were not able to reach the client. We were not able to talk to the client. That is on our side. Now, on the side of the clients, the members of small groups who thrive on meetings, on weekly meetings, within which they are able to save and borrow, members were not able to meet during those weekly meetings. That means their failure to meet means their failure to save, actually, which money is supposed to help facilitate their economic activities and meet their household needs and other needs like health and education. Cooperatives, the same thing, because most of the cooperative members are actually groups and individuals within society and community. So they were not able to continue meeting, and that means that the economic activities at their individual and institutional level was also hampered. But what does that mean? These institutions have previously borrowed some money from the Microfinance Support Center. As long as they are not able to continue working and saving the money, it means that the quality of the portfolio at the Microfinance Support Center is also affected. So that is the challenges that we met. And incidentally, the cooperative members run businesses. Most of them run micro and small enterprises, which play a critical role within the value chains and within the supply chains. So they are restricted, they are not able to supply, the demand has constricted. So basically, it was a shock. I could sum it up as a shock to both our clients and also the Microfinance Support Center. Thank you for now.
Thank you so much, James. I think that's quite telling to hear the experience that you've had at your place. Now, moving on to Ms. Chirabo, at UNBS, just like Apollo did state earlier, first of all, why should an entity, okay, or a manufacturer even consider being compliant with UNBS? But as you share that, as you give us the benefit of an entity enrolling with you, you can also give us the kind of experience that UNBS has had dealing with customers and doing business during a time when things are extremely difficult. But for you, it's also been a time when the challenge is notwithstanding, we've seen local manufacturing.
New as we connect with our customers of NSSF. At Uganda National Bureau of Standards, definitely our core mandate is to develop standards, but these standards are meant to facilitate trade as well as ensuring that the consumers are safe. So we focus more on the health and safety of the Ugandans. And I must say, when COVID hit, as a national standards body, it found us ready. This is mainly because we've been able to automate many of our services. So for us, it continued as business as usual. We were able to continue with the certification processes. We were able to inspect products that are actually manufactured within Uganda, as well as those that are imported. But the greatest lesson that we have learned is the potential of our local manufacturers. And we all know of the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda program. It was never a reality until COVID hit us. I just want to share a small example. I think that was around March 2019 when the first cases of COVID were reported. When we look at our product profiles, I think we had only one company that was manufacturing sanitizers. And you know, the main message from government and from the WHO and everyone was to keep safe, wash your hands with soap and water, sanitize, keep social distance, as well as put on a face mask. So what we experienced as UNBS, as we speak now, actually by June 2019, we had seen over 30 local companies coming to Uganda National Bureau of Standards, getting the certification to put a quality sanitizer on the market. And for us, it was a great experience because these were mainly small-scale entrepreneurs. These are mainly youth. These were mothers, women. And as UNBS, we're glad we were able to extend. In normal circumstances, you cannot get a standard free of charge. But in such very hard conditions, we thought it relevant that we waived off the cost of standards for the critical products that are essential in the fight against COVID-19. So we got standards for products like sanitizers, face masks, food, because we saw government distribute a lot of food, beans, posho, and as UNBS, we started by waiving off the cost for the standard. So you would be able to get a free standard from UNBS as a start point. But we are also able to extend our technical support because, yes, our entrepreneurs are ready to get the standard, but the requirements in the standards may be a little bit technical. So you would wish to have someone walk with you the journey. So we got the teams ready on board, and whoever would come, whoever would request for a standard online, one, you will have it sent to your email or your WhatsApp. Next is for us to be able to do a tutorial to take you through the key features in that standard. And our main focus was to make sure that you are able to go into production because, yes, there was a lockdown, but the production and manufacturing sector remained active. So we got so many women, small-scale entrepreneurs, associations. Actually, I'm glad that we even got, you were speaking about how COVID has hit all of us. And then you just think about a teacher who's out there, and I think the education sector was badly hit, a little more hard than the rest of us. So we got such people connecting through associations and contacting us. And all that we could do is take them through the process, make sure the product they have on the market is safe, meets the bare minimum. Because, of course, the standard sets all the parameters, but what we're looking at are the bare minimum that you need to meet in order to have a product on the market. And we are glad to share our experience with our customers today is that many of these manufacturers of the sanitizers, of the face masks, you remember churches were closed?
Yep.
And for example, if you look at, I'll share an example of the Mukono Diocese. They had a facility, tailoring facility, so the schools were closed. And they needed some money to keep them running, to keep the process really rolling. And as UNBS, we were able to build their capacity, and they enrolled on the list of the UNBS certified products to distribute face masks, first to the Christians and the surrounding environment, but also when you get the UNBS quality mark, it means that you're paying a tax. Yeah, you'll be able to pay tax. It means you are registered with a URSB, and I'm glad MD is here. So it's a process that we are happy that we were able to take on, and so many of our sister agencies and the private sector were able to join us, and we walked through together. So as we speak now, we have over 150 brands of sanitizers. These are local products. These are made in Uganda products. So before, it wouldn't be normal for you to use a sanitizer, but of course I was also looking here, you were able to give us one. So these are small products. They do not fetch a lot of money, but they help our communities thrive. And as UNBS, that is something that we gladly associated with. And we've continued to share these experiences with them. And I think the person who introduced us hinted to it, that yes, why is it that UNBS is on my case when I'm in the market? Before you hit the market, you may not have a lot of business with UNBS, because whatever you're doing is for your own consumption and your family members. So we may not be able to come and make you comply. The moment you decide to step outside the boundaries of your home and you want to put a product on the market at whatever level, whether you have little ice cream that you want to give to the children, we just want to make sure that that product is safe. And as UNBS, we are looking at you as our partner. You are our partner, we are your partner. You need us, we need you. And when you come to us, we take you through the process. I've told you we've given out free standards up to now. If you're into the production of those core products that are key in the fight against COVID-19, you will not pay for that standard at UNBS. You'll have it free of charge. You will not only get a free standard, you will get training. You will get technical advice that you would otherwise be able to pay for. And why are we doing this? One, we want to make sure that the Ugandans are safe, but also we want to support the private sector to thrive amidst all these challenges, because it affects the economy, it affects the way we live. And also the other great thing that we were able to do as UNBS is to subsidize the certification process. Before, one would have to part with around 1 million shillings. That is if you are a small enterprise. If you're a small enterprise, you will need like 1 million to get that UNBS quality mark. So what we have done is to be able to subsidize this. So at only 500,000, you will be able to enroll on the UNBS scheme, and you'll be certified. You will be able to put a quality product on the market. We've also noticed that as people got home, the lockdown trickling down to everyone, there was a bit of, shops were closed. There was not much business, physical interactions. And many people went online. So the e-commerce platforms gained a lot. So I would be in the comfort of my home and order for a product. And with the time, many of the consumers didn't bother about standards. So you just get into your phone, order for all that you need at home, bread, name it. And then someone will deliver, whether in a car or a motorcycle. But with time, we continue to get complaints from the public that these online platforms are actually distributing and selling to us substandard products. Why? They were taking advantage that, of course, the Bureau with over 450 inspectors, we were not on the ground like how we used to be. But the other very important lesson that we need all to take home is that me as a consumer, I am the standard inspector #1. I will determine what I eat. I will determine what I order for. So as the UNBS, we looked at empowering more the Ugandans to demand for quality products. Before you place that order via online, whatever channel you want to use, first ask if this product is actually certified. There are simple things, there are things we take for granted. For example, a product label. Someone will bring a package for you. You don't even take time to read and see. So we also saw so many expired products actually getting into the market, but also getting distributed. So because of the lockdown, someone has delivered, you pay them off, go with your product inside. Just to get there, you realize they brought for you expired products. So whom do you blame? Do you blame the UNBS? Do you blame the supplier or yourself? So we've also learned how to partner and take on our roles and responsibilities. First, as trade facilitators, we've trained these small-scale entrepreneurs. We've given them standards. We've ensured that actually they're able to put safe products on the market. And when we look at the businesses, the online platforms, we've made it clear to them that whereas you open up a shop and we don't want you to have products that are not meeting the requirements, the same principles apply to you, whether you're operating online or whether you're mobile, because we went into an era of mobile distribution of everything. So, and we are glad that many Ugandans actually have got on board. We have a more vigilant consumer out there, but also we have a very supportive private sector that are now taking UNBS more as a partner than policing institutions in such partnerships, but also making sure that our businesses grow and we are able to get back on our pawn as an economy.
Wow, thank you so much. I think that's quite some good work that you're doing over there. Now we move on to Masike, the Registrar General. URSB, first we want to commend you that you're doing an amazing job. We see the brand is extremely visible. We see that you're flying the flag of not just your agents, but the country, especially when you recently got voted as the chairperson of WIPO. So we say congrats. To the guy that is listening out there, and you mentioned URSB, it sounds big, yeah? It could easily mean that your duty is to register entities or companies that are extremely big. How does some small agency, some small company, someone is vending a few items and wants to start a business, get help from URSB? Is there even a chance for them? And if they chose to do, what is the benefit? Why should I even be bothered as a business out there to come to URSB to be able to officially, join your register? But I think after you speak to that, you can also then tell us, doing business across the country, I know that you've got a presence in Imbarara, in Gulu, and in other parts of the country. What has it from us in a time when things are extremely difficult? So you can also share that sort of experience. Over to you, Masike.
Thank you very much, Geoffrey, for the compliments. And thank you, NSSF, for organizing this Customer Connect. Indeed, we need to rebuild our economy together. We can't do it alone. And NSSF is doing good and is our strongest partner. Uganda Registration Services Bureau is a government agency that facilitates businesses in the private sector, supports the family justice, and facilitates innovation as well. Uganda Registration Services Bureau also supports businesses to thrive through the business rescue mechanisms that we have and we are mandated to implement. Uganda Registration Services Bureau holds or hosts a number of registers. And these registers include the business name register, where mainly the small businesses, like a one-man, one-woman entity, they can also register as companies live. So we have that business name register. We have the partnership register for partnerships. We have the companies register for companies, and all these are guided by different laws. We have the documents register under the documents registrations law, the agreements, the powers of attorney, and any document that is of value that has been signed and witnessed. Uganda Registration Services Bureau has a trademark register under the Trademark Registrations Law, that is the Trademarks Act. And I'm glad when Kirabo was submitting, when UNBS smiled, we also smiled because coming to COVID, how did we react to COVID? The COVID-19 pandemic, person was prepared for it. But it found Uganda Registration Services Bureau at a stage where we had automated our services and where we had national emergency or agency, and we had also the electronic documents management system where we have all our documents in the electronic database. So we looked at mainly 3 Ps: the people, the processes, and the performance. The people, we looked at the people that serve our human resources. Are they okay? Are they safe? How can we support them? And we engage our insurance companies to engage them, whoever was rescued. Secondly, these are the people that run the systems. They had been trained, and so it's like we were ready. But there was continuous training because we had to move our office operations from the physical structure to our homes, and we introduced remote working. In fact, up to now, we have staff that are still remote working. So we had to train the people. But on the other side, we were serving the clients, our clients that we live for. And so we had to make sure that they adapt to these new processes, they are accessible, and those that did not have the system, they could even send their documents through the email or even WhatsApp. We had to create all those platforms. Then the second was processes. We municipalities of this country, but above all, we are online. You can get us on any platform. And so we made sure that we are available, and our coverage was to some extent big, and there was no excuse. So that was the COVID situation. So we survived, we thrived, and we still survived through it. But we also saw a lot of companies being hit, a lot of businesses. There are many businesses that were hit and were failing, and one of our roles is to do business rescue solutions or mechanisms. It's under the insolvency law. And whereas we're in charge of registering or giving birth to businesses, we are in charge of their survival. Yeah. And if they fail completely and they have tried all means to be rescued, then we also close them legally under the law. But we didn't move into closing of businesses. We encourage clients to come to us via webinars, via Zooms, via any platforms that they were comfortable with for consultation. And even up to now, we're still handling. Every time we see a business that is almost failing in the media or is brought to our attention, we have meetings to understand, why is this business failing? Is it COVID? Is it the business cycle? Is it, was it a special purpose formed business? Because some businesses are just created for a period of time. When they finish what they have done, they just close out. So we have had those conversations, and we don't have a register that is representative of the businesses that are being run and are running this economy. We know that the small and medium enterprises are, to some extent, the blood of the economy. Then it comes to registration. Many of these businesses are not registered. Why? because there are so many myths and perceptions around registration. Again, there's no knowledge, there's ignorance. There are middlemen and women out there that have made the process so hard for an ordinary person, the accessibility, the coverage. But it takes a personal decision to register or not to register business. There are so many benefits that come with registration. When you register a business, first of all, you're legally existent. The law recognizes you. That certificate of registration is conclusive evidence of ownership. And in life, you either exist naturally as a natural person, because as a natural person, I can own property, I can own land, I can make transactions. But if you're not existing as a natural person, you exist as an artificial person under the law. And you can only exist as an artificial person under the company registry. Because a company can own property, can transact, can sue, can be sued. It has a corporate responsibility. And so, when you're talking about the benefits of registration, they are categorized. They are mainly, you can access funds, the economic benefits. You can access funds. No, I don't think there's any bank out there or commercial institution that can give you a loan as an entity when you're not registered with URSB. And if there's any entity or even an individual that is a money lender, do not lend to entities that are not registered with Uganda Registration Services Bureau, because that will be non-existent under the law. It will be a sham. You'll be dealing with air. So for you, before you deal with any entity, confirm with the records of URSB. And we have the records on our website where you can access basic data on the name of the company, the number, the date of registration, the type of company, and so on. If you want ownership information, you have to go a step ahead to request for it, because the law provides for that. So that is financial accommodation. Then there's competitiveness. How do you leverage on the competitive models when you're not registered? Let's say you are in the telecommunication industry, and you're not registered, you cannot exist. You are in the supply industry. If you want to supply goods and services, mainly to government, to the public sector, or even to private sector, how do you supply when you have no registered entity? But there's also protection of your brand and growing your brand. Most of these big companies you see started small and became big. But what happens is that excuse me, you fail to register business, and you grow the name and the brand, and even you put a signpost, you even open a Twitter handle and a Facebook account when this name is not registered. So a smart person will get this name, it has picked up, and will come and register it, because there's what we call name squatting, equivalent to cyber squatting, that somebody will register that name and will not have it at all because you have failed to register it. Then the trading across borders as well. How do you trade within the East African community, for example? How do you trade within the East African community when you are not registered? How do you, and the beauty is that the Ugandan law gives you even the platform for using your intellectual property as collateral. We have the security interest in movable property register, the Chattels register, where you can lend or borrow money using your movable asset, you as a company. Many companies take note or take stock of their tangible property. That is the car, the computers, the chairs, and so on. But they forget that they have intangible property. The logo, the NSSF logo, high value, Coca-Cola, Renzori, to mention but a few. All these logos are intangible property that has value. The music certificate, the copyright certificate, all those. So when you do not protect your work, if you don't register, you make that loss. That you cannot even expand your business. You cannot operate in peace, because you'll be hiding actually You'll be hiding all the time because you do not exist legally. And there has been this misconception that people brand themselves as the informal sector, they are comfortable, and they are proud to say it. Yes, the informal sector is there, but it can exist in an organized or structured way. That if your business A, even if you operate a stall in Nakawa market, you can be registered as Nalongo stall. It's a business name. I don't think even you can be easily compensated if you have any claims if you're not registered. There's a time when Uganda wanted to compensate businesses, especially the small businesses. But it was established most of these businesses were not registered. So how do you expect a country to plan for you when you are not registered? How do you expect Uganda to compensate you or to give you the financial aid or bailouts if you're not on the register? You don't have books of accounts, you do not have anything. So all those are benefits. Geoffrey, thank you.
Thank you so much. And you know that there's remind me, there's been a discussion for long, for so many years, about government compensating people who lost cattle, I think in Teso, in the north, and the verification exercise has been on for so many years and they have failed. They cannot accurately confirm who had how many heads of cattle. Again, because people were owning their cattle and they did not register. So it's a tall order for government to even confirm who lost what. So it is extremely important that even when you think that you're very informal, you lose nothing registering your small, entity. Now, going back to micro support.
Finance support center.
Mercy did talk about financing as one of the benefits. If I'm not fully registered with URSB, it would be difficult for me to deal with a bank, okay? It would be difficult for me to deal with the government if I needed some bit of, aid, whether I'm borrowing or it's a grant. From your side, COVID having hit and you saw people suffer, you saw businesses suffer, anyone hearing about your name would suddenly think about money, okay? Money that you either avail yourself or money that you can make available through, other partners. So on your side, what is it that you did to respond to the challenges of the market, to the challenges of the businesses? Are there things that you did as an entity to be able to support businesses that were finding it extremely hard to exist when this pandemic hit? Over to you, James.
Thank you very much, our moderator this afternoon. Thank you, my fellow panelists. I'm learning a lot also about the entities, what you are doing there. And this is good for my customer because then I take the advice to our clients so that they can benefit more. In fact, before the show, I had a brief chat with Mercy, and we were talking of having closer collaborations going forward so that our client, we focus on the same client, he's properly formalized, he has enough information about all these registers I have heard about, which could potentially benefit most of my clients. So collaborations going forward, I know there's a parting shot, is going to be very key for us. But back to your question, the Microfinance Support Center, first and foremost, after COVID hit and all these shocks that I talked about in my introductory remarks, the first thing we did was to undertake a financial sector assessment. Because our response to COVID, we needed our responses to COVID to be informed. And we undertook that financial sector assessment by client category, by region, because we have a country mandate and we have branches across the country. For the benefit of the viewers, we have branches in Kabale, we have Mbarara, we have Fort Portal, Hoima, Kampala itself, Jinja, Mbale, Soroti, Arua, Lira, Moroto. These were affected in a different way. But I want to give one particular example that we found out. That was 3 months into the lockdown. we found out that because of failure for our clients to meet, especially for the VSLA clients, and because of breakdown in business operations, the members of the VSLAs had to withdraw their savings to survive. Some of them withdrew for fear of the unknown future, so they wanted to have their physical cash. You never know what happens tomorrow. Others had to withdraw because they had to now think of other ways to survive. While one business line failed, then I have to resort to another business line. And so that is why 40% across all our group clients had withdrawn their savings. And that was alarming indeed. And so what do we do? The COVID-19 found us in the evening hours of our implementation of the 2014-19 strategy, which had emphasized digitalization of our clients to create that visibility for MSC to its clients and vice versa, so that in terms of enhancing customer service delivery, I am able to receive an application from a customer and do the processing faster because I have all the client profiles in my database. So what that meant was now an acceleration of the implementation of the digitalization strategy for the MSC. So part of our COVID coping strategy was, number one, digitalization. Can I have my clients minimally digitalized so that I'm able to know where they are, what are they up to, what kind of financial advice they want, what kind of technical assistance they want for their businesses. And I really want to commend the team at the Microfinance Support Center, of course guided by the board. And there is an old saying that when you are fighting one enemy, you cannot have the luxury of working independently. And we saw that happening at the MSC. Teamwork became now the order of the day. You did not want to know whether you were in which department. All we wanted was ideas of how we can enhance customer service under the prevalent restrictions at that time. And so we came up with digital solutions to keep our clients served. We developed a business development services solutions pack with tools that allowed our customers with future phones, you know, because most of the customer that I serve is not connected to a smartphone or the internet, so they have future phones. So how do I serve a customer with a future phone? So we developed solutions that would allow them, even with their existing gadgets, their future phones, to get connected to the Microfinance Support Center, but also allow the Microfinance Support Center relay COVID-19 SOP-related messages. First of all, you had to keep safe. But secondly, we sent advisory messages over their phones on how they could cope, depending on the different client categories that we were serving. So that was the immediate strategy that we implemented, based on the financial sector assessment that I talked about. The other immediate strategy we implemented was credit relief measures. Businesses have collapsed, so how do I keep a business operational if I don't implement a relief measure? By the time actually government announced relief, MSC had gone ahead to implement relief measures because we had conducted a study and we were informed. And what are some of these relief measures we implemented? We did a revision of the interest rates down from 9% per annum to 8% per annum, so that a customer would access credit at very, very low term and then would be able to continue operations. The other thing we did was to restructure the credit facilities. Restructuring means that you have apparently new repayment terms. The period is a little bit extended, and you have some degree of comfort. There is stress for COVID, but to take down the stress, I also allow you some little bit of moratorium for you to be able to organize yourself and then pay. But I talked about our other mandate of business development support service. That one was properly put to use because we had to technically guide and advise our customers on how to cope, not by sending the other messages I talked about, but also looking into Those who had business plans, we had to support them to recast them, to align to the changed circumstances. And those who did not have them, now it was time that you had some kind of plan to guide you through the phase, the bad phase. So we supported our clients to recast their business plans and also help them diversify into new product lines, because that was the circumstances. And we have seen that pay off. Old business closed, new product line coming in, or old business limping, and you have the new product line that has come to sort of support the limping product line. And this is helping our customers so much, and it has also helped repayments. Repayments have started coming. We also implemented a strategy. We became more inclusive this time. Before COVID, there were those sectors that were excluded from the economy. The announcer of the session talked of EMIOGA, for example. We have all those 18 categories under the EMIOGA program who had not been into the money economy. And for mercy, they were not registered. So now we had to be more inclusive and bring on board all those most vulnerable categories or sectors in our economy. And we now talk of, for example, bouncers associations. You are talking of bricklayers associations, performing artists associations. You have border associations coming up. Over 205,000 associations mobilized under EMIOGA alone, and over 6,500 circles registered under the EMIOGA association alone. But even under the EMIOGA 18 categories, you have those that did not qualify under the EMIOGA, and MSC, it now became more relevant for us to reach out to those categories that were not under the money economy, because those who are in businesses are crying. The question is, what about that one who has in the first place not been covered within the money economy? So we implemented a lot of strategies there to make sure that we are more inclusive in our approach. We have a holistic strategy to target and support the vulnerable sectors, but we also have the credit relief measures that would allow businesses to continue functioning during that period. And it has really paid off. So those were some of the, I want to give you some interesting statistics and also thank our fintech partners who have worked with us so fast to reach a level where we are now. And we are seeing our clients as deep as Agago in Acholi transacting online. So with the support of partners, and that's why I emphasize the issue of partnerships, we've been able to digitalize over 500 VSLAs deep in Lango and Acholi, and even in the eastern region, they are now transacting online.
You might want to explain what VSL
are. Village Savings and Loan Associations. Okay. These are the groups that have savings and credit schemes within them. So when you have a group, community-based association, or a self-help group, but you have a component of saving and credit, you become a village savings and loan association. So these people in the associations are transacting online. Right now we are at a very, very high speed of trying to bring all their profiles together within our database so that once an application is received, the processing of the credit takes place, and you have a reduced turnaround time because of that digitalization benefit, and then we are able to proceed. Yeah, so those are some of the strategies that we have put in place to make sure that we remain relevant with our mandate of reaching out to that client, that Ugandan, that cannot find it easy to access credit from commercial banks.
Wow, good stuff. Thank you so much. I think if I had a glass here, I would, toast. Yeah?
Yeah,
but you know, it speaks to some good work that you're doing at Microfinance, and I think that's good for the economy. Now, at NSSF, the kind of customer or member that is listening in right now, especially on the side of the employers, is one that has been extremely hit, and he may not even be among the categories that can get assistance from you, but maybe they would like to hear that from you. So we've got schools, schools constitute 35% of the registered entities that pay into the fund. It is that big. So when they are down, our compliance levels are completely down. But also in terms of value, they bring in about 15 billion shillings every month. So if they are shut for about 2 years, those are 17 months, they're completely out of business for now. But when we talk schools, people always think of the big, big ones. But we've also gotten very small schools.
Yeah.
Schools that have got as few as 20, 30 learners. Schools that employ just about 5 people. You've got gardens. Would they fall in the classification of those that can get support from, an agency like yours, given that some of them may seem big, but also we've got a category that, yes, are schools, but are extremely small in nature, even in form of the kind of support that they would need, it might not be really that big. So would schools especially, and I'm talking about schools because from where we sit, it is, at least in terms of number, it is our biggest, sector.
Okay.
So will they also be able to qualify for some sort of assistance from your agency?
Thank you so much. Like I said, as the mandate of MSC, as far as the mandate of MSC is concerned, nothing is small. And if at all, I exist because of that small. So for us, small is value because that is why we exist as the Microfinance Support Center. Prior to COVID-19, we had schools in our portfolio, actually. But what I would maybe want to mention here is we run 2 products, 2 systems at the Microfinance Support Center. We run the conventional interest-based products, which is the normal interest-based products. And that is, we have agro input loan products for our customers into farming. We have the trade and commerce products for our customers into trade. We have the institutional loans where the microfinance institutions and schools would fall. We have the micro lease loan products that allow our customers to access the productive assets. We have the ox plows, people who use ox plows, for example, in the north. Somebody would want an ox plow, but they can't afford it. Through our system, interest-based can access. We have the common user facilities that we can give to our clients. We have agricultural products. Generally, somebody who is into agriculture, they would want a lot of things under that. You have implements that you want to go to the farm. You have working capital, etc. So that is the interest-based system that we have. But beyond the interest-based system, would be interesting to some of the viewers that may not know the other system that we have. The Microfinance Support Center in 2015 pioneered the implementation of the Islamic microfinance system. And we started it with capacity building for our staff, but also for the clients that would pioneer the implementation of the system with. And the reason I'm mentioning the Islamic microfinance system, the schools would benefit more under that system. And indeed, they had, even before COVID set in, small, medium level schools were part of my clients, and they have benefited. The only thing I want to mention now, for the viewers that are watching us today, is we would want our customers to be, and clients to be fair enough. The financial discipline, which is part of this Customer Connect Week, is very critical to our work of trying to reach out to the most vulnerable, to those who need financial services, to support other people. Schools support teachers, they support students, they support the directors, everyone is a beneficiary. They support the community because they buy inputs of food and chairs and tables and chalk from the community. And so if we do not have that trust, number one, and the financial service and the financial discipline, number two, it becomes very hard, not only for the schools, but for all borrowers, for Microfinance Support Center to support them. In fact, in the Islamic language, we have the principle of amana. That is, if we do not have that level of trust as a partner, borrower and client, partner, we have the level of trust that we have built between ourselves. Lending and borrowing will become very hard, especially in the context of COVID. So, to answer your question precisely, if one is not going to benefit under the interest-based system, which is the conventional system, there is a window under the Islamic financing system, and that is why we introduced the system, to make borrowing more affordable, more inclusive, more ethical to our clients, so they can benefit.
Thank you so much. Now to the viewers and the listeners, please, you can post your questions, your comments on the platforms. We are picking them. I've already got one for Mercy, I've got one for James, but I'll get back to that in the next phase. But let's move to UNBS, to Chirabo. Other than businesses having to comply, especially for safety and for quality, is there anything that UNBS as an entity has done for their registered entities that are struggling during COVID? I know that it might be more expensive to comply, especially now when things are extremely tight, especially compliance that would require entities to use money, to invest money in order to meet some of the, requirements. Is there anything that you're doing or that you've done to support such entities?
Thank you so much for that question. And building on to what my fellow panelists have been discussing about, as Uganda National Bureau of Standards, we know that we are operating in such a difficult environment currently. But one thing comes out strongly. You cannot be in business without standards. And you need standards to boost your business. Standards and compliance to standards will allow you access markets that you've not been able to access before. And I think it is Mercy who pointed to the bigger markets that we have in the regions, the ESC, the African free trade areas. You will not be able to export. You will not be able to send out any products beyond the boundaries of Uganda if you don't have standards. So for us, what we have learned in this situation is that actually the business community now has appreciated the Bureau as a partner. And we've been speaking about finances from my colleague here. That has been one of the biggest challenges. Many of the people advance as what deters them from complying with the standards. But we want to appreciate, recently the Private Sector Foundation was able to get back to the UNBS. And we are working together to identify those critical sectors, those entrepreneurs who are actually were in business before COVID, but are struggling. They are struggling, they have the infrastructure, but for some reason, the situation hasn't been good for them. So what we are doing right now is to have such sectors that are actually registered, because if you're not registered, then it becomes hard for us to deal with you. And again, my colleague from the Finance Support Center was speaking about it, the issue of associations, the issue of cooperatives. If you know you're dealing in a particular product, and this is at a regional basis, because as UNBS, we also have regional offices, and for example, we have a regional office in Gulu, and we are looking at the value chain within the Acholi sub-region, the shea butter, the peanut. And this is something that is done by local people. And before, they found it hard to register, just like Mercy shared. But they have been able to register, but the business is hard. So we have partners who are working with UNBS, and they come to us and ask, who are these people that we can help? So for us, we are working more with the associations. If we know an association that is, has members that are actually well established, but are struggling. We work through such associations, we take them through the certification process, and these partners actually are meeting the costs. They are financing them. So what I want to put across to our customers and our viewers who are following us this evening is that don't run away from UNBS. Don't run away from the standards, because when you come nearer us, we are able to get solutions that will get you out of the difficulties that you are facing. I also I want to share more about a product that we offer as UNBS that may not be so popular, the management systems. And again, I appreciate NSSF. For me to, as a business person, to be able to remit my funds, my subscriptions to the fund consistently, I must be able to follow a certain system. And as UNBS, we offer system certification. This is a process that will make sure that your business is managed in a way that is sustainable, that will allow you to meet your obligations as well as access, make profits. So, for example, if, for example, you've been in business and somehow you're struggling and you cannot meet your subscriptions to the NSSF, if you have a system in place, well set, and because sometimes we get our workers, sometimes they can actually, you may make losses when you actually cannot be able to realize it. So if you have a system in place that will be able to predict and also to give you reports, then you will be able to thrive, but also you will demonstrate your commitment to those systems to potential funders, people who can be able to give you the finances. And also the other issue, and I think my colleagues have shared a lot about it, the issue of automation and digitalization of our services. Just when we were getting here, we had an association of millers, maize millers. This is one of the informal sectors that we know exist within us, but their potential is so high. They're in business, but they, for some reason, they want to operate as the informal sector. I think it is what Mercy was sharing about. And yet they have all it takes to be registered and to be able to access all these services. And they were just sharing with us, saying, we didn't know that I would sit here in Luweero and be able to send in my application for certification to UNBS. And I have everything. So that is how we have learned out of this situation, but picked out the good lessons that can make us move forward as a country, as an economy, but also the synergies that we are able to share as agencies, as governments, but also to bring on board our stakeholders, especially the business sectors, to work more with us for a better future, a better life, as NSSF says it, but also a better economy.
Thank you so much. And I think on that note, the comment I'd like to make is that even at NSSF, you know, besides even just the customer week, we've also made a commitment that we'll be holding these kind of talks to be able to give our members information, because we realize that we might not have all the answers to their challenges. But if today we invite URSB, if we invite UNBS, if we invite, you know, other people here and they speak about these issues, then we get to empower the membership of the fund. So that is very good, and thanks a lot. Before I can go into the Q&A, let me go to Mercy to specifically talk about some of the initiatives, some of the things that you've done as URSB that are intended to support entities or businesses or companies that are struggling and that just want to find a way to survive during this very hard time. Over to you.
Thank you. URSB continues to do a lot of initiatives to save businesses from failing. And some of these initiatives are, first of all, to encourage as many businesses as possible to register. You first have to get on the register. You can't rebuild what you have not built, what was not there. You must have a foundation. And when NSSF says we rebuild together, this is why we are here. We are rebuilding together. So the first foundation of business, register. And registration is not as many millions as claimed by our announcer today. Registration takes as affordable as 24,000 for a business name, 24,000. For a company, you need just a minimum of 130,000 Uganda shillings to register. For those special entities like banks, forex bureaus, they have a minimum threshold of the share capital by the regulators. So the amount will increase with the increase in the share capital. And so we have had engagements, we've had trainings, we've had talks with all the strategic partners, and we've been running a series of events. Every Friday we have series, innovation series, business series, family series, to give to the public information on how they can survive. And of course we know that some of the reasons why businesses fail are corporate in nature, like corporate governance principles. You don't have accounts, you are a business, you have not opened a bank account. Your bank account is under your pillow or in your stomach. You cannot separate your resources and your capital. You're eating your capital as well. So we take them through that training. The other important thing is that apart from having no records, the transparency and getting the competencies on board. You find you're running a business, but you have all these incompetent people. Maybe they are your cousins or distant relatives. You want to give them jobs, but at the cost of your business. Get the right people in the right places in your business. But we also have issues of recapitalization, where the microfinance can come in to facilitate your businesses, or any financial institution to inject some capital or recapitalize your business. You can even tone down. We have been telling businesses, if you have 100 branches, cut them into five. Get 5, reduce the scope so that you survive with those 5. You can use the company vehicles, company assets, company stock as collateral to get financial assistance. So there are different engagements that we have had and we continue to have with the business community. They need information, they need counseling and guidance, because others are psychologically affected by the failures of business. But there are those that are thriving, like those that are making sanitizers, gloves, those that are doing the Zoom broadcasting and all the online broadcasting. So whereas there are many businesses that are failing because of the products and services, the nature of products and services, and the change in the business cycles because of COVID, there are those that have emerged and are making billions of money. So we have to use the opportunities. There's also change in the business specialization. If you're selling tomatoes, tomorrow then you sell mangoes. So you change the business, your business, and you survive. So you don't have to die because of your business. No, you're bigger than your business, and it is you that set it up. So you have the remote control of that business to touch whatever button, to revive it, to thrive it, using the strategic partnerships, using such platforms like NSSF, learning on how things are done well. And others are failing because they do not exist legally. So sustainability is very hard. If you have never registered, you cannot sustain your business. Or some people that demise, may their souls rest in peace. If they're operating businesses that are not registered, they die with them. So business survival, business sustainability, and continuity matters in this case. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. You see, what you've said just intrigued me to recall a saying that I read this morning, which was saying that intelligence is not knowing everything. It is the ability to challenge everything that you know. So what Mbasi is putting forward today is those businesses that are adaptable enough, that are able to realize fast enough that we cannot continue doing things the way we've been doing them, that are able enough to listen to the market and change very fast, can still be able to make it. So the listeners, the customers out there, we need to be adaptable. We need to change when there is a need for change. And above all, we need to listen to what the market is saying. Let me shortly hand over to Apollo for an announcement, and then we can pick up from there.
Thank you, Geoffrey. There's quite a buzz coming in, and the gentleman and the ladies, my role is simple, and I've just been taken back by what Geoffrey said last. Intelligence is challenging everything you know. So I want to appear intelligent, and I challenge the things I know, I challenge the things that I have been told or I have read. Some of this is not me. These are questions coming from the public, and I don't want to take responsibility. So I'm going to just read. We've summarized them with a team, and I'll hand back to Geoffrey to just see how each of you answers this. But the public wants to know, there's this, something that came up strongly is about fraudsters. And this cut across that there are quite a number of fraudsters within your staff who have become power brokers for us to get services from your entities. Comment about that. I don't want to say that I also have experienced that. I'm challenging what I know, but I know I have accessed services from some of these entities, and I have walked in, and I have, because I think I hold my NSSF tag, I say I'm from NSSF, I want this service, and I have quite gotten some services. To the lady who does standards, where are those standards published? Where can I get a list of standards that I can read from before I get into a certain business? Geoffrey will help me get someone to answer that. Then someone is asking, does MSC buy off loans? Also, do they give loans for individuals? Again, that has come out strongly. Then one of my, and this is coming from me, as NSSF, one of the things we're doing is to keep pushing this and say there are services here. My members are 1.2 million, my members with a balance, but I have a reach of quite a bigger number. If we are triggering them and pointing them towards your entities, can you handle the numbers? That is something I just want to have certainty over, because when we are pushing them to you, we are very certain to say, go, they will handle you. Are you capable to handle this? And then the chicken and the egg philosophy. What should come first? Should we first establish our entities, then come do the regulatory, or we first bury ourselves into doing the regulatory, then establish the businesses to take off? Kindly, through the moderator, you'll help me answer that. Then we'll come back to the last round of this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Apollo. I'm certain that the panelists have gotten to write down some of the questions that are directed to them, but I'll, go to James right away. James, in addition to what you've already noted, these are additional ones that are specific to your agents. One person on Zoom says, could you please expound more on Islamic financing window? Is it available to individuals or only groups? So someone wants to know whether they can benefit as an individual or as a group from Islamic financing window that you did speak about earlier. Then another question that is specific to Microfinance Support Center says, does the Microfinance Support Center support money lenders? I hope those are registered money lenders. so do you support money lenders? That is also very, very specific to you. I think you can take those on. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for our viewers and for the questions. First, the fraudsters at the Microfinance Support Center who try to make it difficult for you to access our services. That is not there. We have a very strong HR policy, and that highly discourages that. And we have the whistleblower policies that inform management of any of such acts happening. And so we do not have this, and we do not encourage it at all. Does MSC buy off loans? MSC buying off loans, we have had a lot of customers coming, defaulting in the bank where they are borrowing currently, and then they say now, since the other side is becoming difficult, just buy off this. After all, I have reorganized my business and I will be able to pay here. So a facility to be bought off should be performing from where it is currently. And then the reasons why you want such a buy-off should be very clear. But otherwise, if all is good and you just want to associate with the Microfinance Support Center because of our affordable packages, we should be able to buy it off immediately. Then individual loans, we do not give individual loans. Although we have tested, we are in the pilot phase of giving individual loans. So I can't say here that it is an open product that is there because it is still under pilot in one of our satellite offices. So maybe when that time comes and we are sure individual loans can work, we shall inform the public about the individual packages. Can MSC handle referrals from the NSSF? Already we have referrals coming through, and that is part of rebuilding together. Some saver at NSSF who cannot access funds right now, and they have a business they want to undertake. With the recommendation from NSSF, we have had some of the referrals coming in, and our staff have received them well, and they are having discussions. So this can continue, and we see the business cases, if they are worth funding, we definitely will be able to support. Expound more on individual or groups. Islamic finance, is it for individuals or groups? Islamic finance window is very, very interesting. It is for, first of all, for Muslims and non-Muslims. Everyone can be supported. For a business that is registered, it will qualify under Islamic. But for a business that is also compliant to Sharia, because Islamic finance products are compliant to Sharia, which we cannot expound here. But like I mentioned, we have got the Business Development Service support arm at MSC, which is free. And we conduct all these trainings for free. So reach us at all our branches in the country. You will be able to learn more about how the system works. But individually registered businesses, which are business names, can benefit, and all other businesses, whether for Muslims or non-Muslims. Do we support money lenders? We support microfinance institutions that are registered and are compliant to taxation and other requirements, regulatory requirements. And so once you fall in that category, you should be able to be supported. Thank you.
Thank you, James. I think just take your final one here before I can move to Mercy and to Chirabo. Other than the traditional businesses, can one access microfinance support loans or interest if they are a legally registered NGO or company limited by guarantee? If yes, what is needed?
Okay. One thing maybe I did not mention about what MSC has done post-COVID and will continue to do is business process reengineering. We are re-engineering our processes to make sure that we are accommodative enough. Initially, we did not have a lot of appetite for greenfield projects, businesses which come and they are new and somebody is trying to start something. But because of the COVID-19, we have realized something that we earlier did not have appetite for can actually potentially change lives in the communities. But what we subject our applicants, potential customers to, is the feasibility studies, which most people also have no appetite to. But we are encouraging them. A new business will require that we conduct a feasibility to understand whether it will be viable or not. And then we put all the plans together, business plans together, to make sure that what we are financing will be lucrative for you and for the networks around you. So we will be able to provide the necessary technical assistance for the new projects to be financed. For NGOs that are registered and limited by guarantee, we support all types of businesses. as long as the business case is clear. If it is not clear, the beauty with MSC is that we will support you to clarify that business case that you have. Yeah.
Good stuff. So the listeners out there, if you are struggling, you know that you can get, some bit of support. Let's move to Chirabu now. Other than what you might have written, just one more here. Someone is talking about something that they are choosing to call partial certification. And they're going to explain and say, if I apply to UNBS and I meet all standards of a product except one, can they permit me to proceed to market as they work on, as I work to address the remaining one aspect? So basically what the person is saying, these are 10 things that I need to meet in order to go to the market. But I've ticked off 9. There is only 1 left. Can I be permitted to take my product on the market as I address that one thing that is left? So over to you, Ms. Chirabu.
Thank you so much, moderator, and to our viewers and listeners for the questions. I want to start with what the announcer commented on, the issue of fraudsters. And this is something that we are facing as government, that there are so many people out there who sometimes masquerade and will come and convince the members of the public that they are working either on behalf of any of us. But again, we have said this here, we have automated massively. If you need services from UNBS, your first stop center should be the UNBS website. It will give you a clear guide, whether you want certification services, you want inspection services, you want verification services, calibration. It will give you a guide. And our processes and procedures are well documented. If we are to come, and for example, for you to be able to get a quality mark, not anyone can give it to you. And as part of the automation and transparency, you will have to submit your own application. And this application has to be received officially by UNBS. So every correspondence between you and UNBS is official. Where you really, you are suspicious, please contact us. We have our digital platforms, but we also have a customer support center call, a toll-free line, 0800-133-133. If you have anything that you need to inquire, and if you're not so sure about as someone who is convincing you that is a UNBS official. And the other very critical information that our listeners and customers must take note is that all the UNBS services are not paid for in cash. That's the easiest way you can handle fraudsters. If someone is asking you for hard cash, buy this, maybe I want to sell you a standard, all this money is paid through the URA support portal. So we don't handle cash, and we have, if someone, the best way to suspect a fraudster is when they start asking you for hard cash. Then you know that is not UNBS, because all our services are paid for through the online platform of government, and that's the URA payment portal. I also want to move to the person who asked about standards. Yes, how can we access them? Where are they? As we speak now, Uganda, because UNBS is the national focal point for standards work. So we have over 4,265 standards as we speak now, and these are standards in the areas of engineering, food and beverages, chemicals, management services. So all these standards are available at UNBS. They are online. We have a web store. So it's a webstore.unbs.go.ug. You can actually download it. If you have a smartphone, you can download the UNBS app, and then it will take you through to the web store. And when you get to the web store, you will search. It's a friendly platform, so you will search according to your need. Whether you're looking for a standard for a product or a standard for a service, all those details are there. Alternatively, you can actually send an email to UNBS at info@unbs.go.ug. You'll be able to get these standards. But the easiest way to access standards is through our web store. We have made everything simple and all the information is there. I want to request our customers, our listeners, to just download that UNBS app and you'll be able to buy yourself the particular standard that you want, because we have many of them. And also for our other customers who may not be so, who are not able to use the internet, the phones, we encourage you to visit. If you really can get difficulties in accessing the internet or using the web store, you can visit our offices across the country, in Gulu, in Mbale, in Barara, in Lila, Jinja, and the head office here in Boyogerere. We also have that category of customers, and we value them. They will not be able to download the app, but they actually need the standard. So you walk into UNBS, and we are able to help you as well. And now to go to the last question you've raised on certification. You know, before it was hard to get the UNBS certification mark, but we have come up with packages. And again, these are responses towards the COVID-19. It has really made so many of us readjust and also be able to serve our customers better. We have what we call the pre-market approval. So, and that's the exact scenario the customer is sharing. He has some products that he wants to put on the market, but the UNBS certification process is quite lengthy. It's taking him a while. But he has a particular product that he has been able to accomplish to our satisfaction, because we follow particular procedures, mainly to make sure that the product is safe for the consumer, that the product will not bring any harm to the user. So when we have gone through that process and we confirm that these 9 products that he's speaking about are okay, we are able to give him that approval. And we call it a pre-market approval. It is signed by the executive director of UNBS. It will be given to you. And wherever you're presenting your products, that is what will be your the documentation that you will need. And that shows that we have looked at your processes, they are okay, you are in the process of finalizing everything. So we have that provision. We also have a provision, I think I never got an opportunity to speak about it, called batch certification. Now with batch certification, and you see, if I am to share an example of what happened early this year with the maize millers. So you'll find someone with a particular store and they have so much they want to export, or they want to supply a certain facility. It can be a government facility, it can be an international agency. But this ideally, this is not your business. You don't do it on a daily, but you've got into it, you've got what people call, they call it a gig or a hustle. So what you have to do is to come and tell us about that hustle. We shall come and we shall be able to subject that particular batch of products that you intend to put in the market. So we shall assess them, test them, and confirm that they are okay and can be accessed, can be sold to the consumers. And we shall issue a batch certificate. It is not a UNBS certification mark or product like what we are having here, like the water we are taking and sanitizers, but this is specifically for that batch. So we are here to make your life easy. We are here to make sure that you can access markets. And with all those packages, you will be able to sell. Even when you want to get out of Uganda, you'll be able to export. You'll be able to export with those provisions that I've been able to explain to you. And what is very important is to connect with customers. It's really very key. You connect with us, we guide you through. You will not regret.
Thank you so much. So now let's move to Mercy. Mercy, 2 questions for you here. Number 1 says, what are the requirements for registration of a business? I know that may be wide, but you might want to speak to some few aspects that someone needs to meet in order for them to be able to register the business. And the kind of person that asked this, I think, is looking at your typical small business. What do I need to have in place in order to register? And the final one is, what does it take for me as a young person to register my idea or innovation, and at what stage of the idea can I actually be able to register it?
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'll also speak to the question that was put to all agencies on fraudsters.
Yeah.
I used to watch a TV series called Tricksters.
Yeah.
It was so amazing that it was displaying and showcasing what happens in the real world. But every time I met the actors and the actresses, I would put my bag in a safe place. So I'm telling you, the tricksters, the fraudsters are so clever that they will even manufacture your uniform, put on your badges, get your source codes, get all the components that will qualify them to trick you. And so it all starts with personal responsibility. Who are you dealing with in any case? We have told you that we have all these measures in place: WhatsApp lines, emails, telephones, the call center numbers on display. We have even displayed our price list, the cost of registration when you enter our offices, even on our websites. We are there to support, and then for you, you choose to fall in the trap. Yeah. It's personal responsibility. And so we want to encourage our clients that before you use that third party or fourth party or fifth party, know who they are. At least walk into our office or apply online if you have access to the internet, or engage authorized agents like lawyers, the law society, the auditors, the financiers that are qualified to do this work, or somebody that has no knowledge to avoid the frauds. But we put all systems in place that safeguard our clients. The second question was asked by an announcer on whether to do the regulation or the registration first. What comes first? Yeah. Registration is very key because you have to first exist legally. Exactly. Registration gives you the legal existence. Because you cannot exist informally and transact, because you not be transact unless you're doing it still in your names. You have this name that is not registered, but you're doing it as a person. So whatever is being done by unregistered entities is taken to be done by the owners of that business. So it is important that you register, because it's about registration, then the licensing and regulation. That's the value chain of the business facilitation. URSB is there to register you. Other licensing authorities are there to license you. That's why we have one-stop models. We have a one-stop center within URSB. We call it a Uganda Business Registration Facilitation Center, where we have over 11 ministries, departments, and agencies that are represented, including NSSF. Yes. It sits at URSB to pick all that data for companies. The third question was about what it takes to register a business. Basically, any person in Uganda can register business. The law of Uganda is so generous that doesn't say any Ugandan citizen, says any person in Uganda. So it doesn't matter your nationality, it doesn't matter your height, doesn't matter your origin. Any person can register a business in Uganda. But the law adds for a lawful purpose. As long as the business is for a lawful purpose. People forget that. Yeah. It must be lawfully constructed so that it's not against public order and morality. But to register business, you just need a name, first of all. A name which is reserved by our office. And we have name examiners, registrars that examine these names to look at the registerability. I don't want to go into the technical components. So you have a name. If we have such a register and it's not registered or confusingly similar to what is on our register, we give you a go-ahead to register. You make an application online or physically, and you make payments through the URA system, We give you a bank payment form. I mean, the self-assessment, it is automated. The system is all automated. And then after you have paid, you attach your receipts and get your business registered in 2 to 3 hours. It is as simple as that. So it takes reservation, examination, application, and the issuance of a certificate. Basically. So it is easy to register business, and it is very affordable because like I mentioned, a business name is 24,000 Uganda shilling, and any ordinary business is between 130 to 150,000. But to also hold a register of non-profit making entities, which are companies limited by guarantee, the churches, the associations, the orphanages, all those are registered with us as company limited by guarantee, non-profit making, to do charity. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you. Now, I know that we left with about 8 minutes to the end. Questions are flowing. We can't be able to answer them now. But for the record, I'm going to read them such that you can also use your respective platforms to respond, because they may not benefit just the person asking, but the general public. Someone says, I have a number of young entrepreneurs I have mentored over the years and are struggling to find finances to push their businesses. How do you, as Microfinance Support Center, support such young people? So you just need to note that. URSB, if you have, now I don't get this, but it says, is it possible for one to acquire an agricultural loan if I have land and want to rear rabbits or something like that? But I think it wasn't for URSB. Sounds like it's still yours. Then they say for you NBS, I think this is information from one person from UNBS saying, for you NBS, we've got a branch here in Imbarara, so one can take the product to the branches for testing and gain the Q mark. So I thought that it's important that you note those as well. I think in the 6 minutes that are left, we can give our parting shots in about a minute each before I hand over to the man who is really standing next to me. So to begin with you, James, just in 1 minute, your parting shots.
Thank you very much. In 1 minute, we appreciate NSSF for this interaction. We appreciate the viewers and the questions asked. At MSC, we are innovating more than ever. We are coming up with more responsive products for our clients to respond to the emerging needs. We are building more partnerships to help support our clients. We are even going into demonstration, where our panelists have mentioned here that clients are going into new product lines. If it is mangoes, do oranges. And MSC is saying you can do it, and we are demonstrating that you can do it. So we have demonstration centers for rabbits, which came up now. We have demonstration centers for all those other livestock. And at these demonstration centers, we train to equip you with knowledge and skills on how to undertake such an enterprise. And once you qualify, we also give you seed at very subsidized terms. So you go and start your enterprise with a little bit of seed, tangible, and some little bit of capital, and you start the enterprise with our monitoring. We are coaching, we are incubating, we are hand-holding, and we will continue to emphasize our BDS, technical assistance, to help our clients move forward and adapt. Thank you.
Thank you. A big thank you to James from the Microfinance Support Center. Well done.
Maybe our toll-free, in case anyone wants to reach us, 0800 0800 201 010. That is our toll-free, just in case someone wants to call. Yeah.
Thank you. Now over to Chirabo from UNBS, your parting shots.
Yes, we are grateful as UNBS for this opportunity to be able to connect with the NSSF customers. And we are one of your very complying customers, I know. So we are committed to making our remittances on a monthly. I think we contribute around 270, roughly. And we are committed to that as a standards institution. We need to comply with all our obligations. And to our customers, our audience that has been with us for these 2 hours, thank you for the feedback. And I want to re-echo our message that as Uganda National Bureau of Standards, we are your partners. You need the standards to access markets. You need the standards to have safe products on the market. And we need the standards to have a healthy, safe life. We are all key, we are all consumers, and it is our responsibility to demand for quality products. Together we can be able to change the quality culture of Ugandans, but also to make sure that we have safe products on the market. And we appreciate the partnership, the synergies with our sister agencies as government, but also with the private sector. Thank you so much.
A big thank you to Chirabo from UNBS. Well done, thank you. And finally, to our very competent partner, URSB, with whom we've dealt with for so many years. Could you, Mercy, please give your parting shots?
Thank you, our dear moderator and our announcer on standby. Yes, as you continue to generate ideas, as you continue to generate your innovations, your business ideas, it is highly advisable that you protect them before you commercialize them, that you protect them through registration with Uganda Registration Services Bureau before you take them to the marketplace, because it enables you to gain a lot of benefits in as far as business facilitation, sustainability, protection, and continuity is concerned. And to that young innovator that asked how they can protect their intellectual property, we are at your service. Whoever needs information from us, you can get all this information from our website. You can call through our toll-free lines, but you can also send a WhatsApp, even now, on 071-2448-448. That is the URSB WhatsApp. Please do not call it. Just send a WhatsApp, and you'll be attended to. Let's grow together. Let's rebuild together. And as we rejuvenate and resurrect the companies that are failing, the businesses that are failing, but also we can do a business shift into other business spaces. Let's not dwell or stay where we have failed. We can do other, engage in other business activities, and we are available to give you the business rescue mechanisms that can save or rescue your ailing or failing business. I thank you very much. Thank you, NSSF, for the invite. We continue to connect with you.
Thank you.
We know you put us first, yeah, as your theme, and let us continue to build together. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll end with something that I said earlier, that intelligence is not about knowing everything, but challenging everything that you know. So to the customers, the businesses, the companies out there, let's re-examine, let's adapt, let's make things change. Thank you, and have a good evening. Over to you, Apollo.
Thank you so much. Well said, well said. You heard them. You heard it from the horse's mouth. You heard from the man from NSSF who is in charge of taking money from you, and he's committed to rebuilding this business with you, because he needs his targets to go up. Just because, before you go, just because you exist. You also heard from the Registrar General herself, the Registration Services Bureau. We thank you so much. From UNBS, we are very optimistic that people will now will take up that offer and get to you directly. And as NSSF, we are happy to always facilitate them to come to you. And Microfinance Support Center, thank you so much. As NSSF, our members are more and more now energized to get to this information, and we are committing as NSSF that we shall pick this information, contact information, and put it in a place where you can access it so that you can get to them. From now, we want to close up this now, but tomorrow we shall be having a conversation about this rebuilding together with the Western region. We shall be having our conversation in the Runyankole space, just to talk about these particular things, but in our local dialect. In the same day, we are going to be talking about mental health, and we watch out for our spaces, our online spaces, where we shall be featuring some of these stories. Tell us your story. How has COVID treated you, and how are you going through? Which opportunities have you seen? Those stories we keep putting them out there on our social media spaces. Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to connect with you. We pledge that we shall continue connecting From NSSF and the CCW team, thank you so much and have a great, great evening. Thank you.